Hey partners, welcome to EnglishKul. So today is the 10th day of 100 day reading challenge and it's the 11th chapter. Um, a small clap for me and yourself that today we have completed our 10 day of continuous uploading video. So yeah, and 19 days left. It's 100 day journey which we will together need to uh, complete. So it's an atomic book. Who are new? Let me tell you that we have taken the 100 day reading challenge, and it's the 10th day of the reading, and chapter number 11. And why we are reading? We are reading just because of to make our English speaking a bit confident and fluent. And if you also want to do your communication be fluent, so you can comment me below or ping me on my WhatsApp number where I am making a community where we each other can help us who want to enhance their speaking skills. So number is 98739767739. Let's get started. Chapter 11, day 10. Walk slowly but never backward. Chapter 9. On the first day of class, Jerry Olasman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into two groups. Everyone on the left side of the classroom, he explained, would be in the quantity group. They would be graded so solely on the amount of work they produced. On the final day of class, he would tell me a number of photos submitted by each student. On 100 photos, I would rate 19 photos B, 80 photos or C, and so on. At the end of the term, he was surprised to find that all the best photos were produced by the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with composition and lighting, testing our various methods in the darkroom, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they honed their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts on other than unverified theories and one mediocre photos. It is easy to get bogged down trying to find the optimal plan for change, the fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for the side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to talk action. As as Voltaire once wrote, the best is enemy of the good. I refer to this action as the difference between being in motion and taking action. The two ideas sound similar, but they are not the same. When you are in motion, you are planning and strategizing and learning. Those are all good things, but they don't produce a result. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go talk to the personal trainer. That motion will never get you in shape. Only the action of working out will get the result you are looking to achieve. If motion doesn't lead to result, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan or learn more, but more often than not, we do it because motion always us to feel like we are making progress without running the risk of failure. Most of us are experts at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly. So we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. At that the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action, you want to delay failure. Motion makes you feel like you are getting things done, but really you are just preparing to get something done. When preparation becomes a form of uh, procrastination, you need to change something. You don't want to merely be planning, you want to be practicing. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. This is the first takeaway of the third law. You just need to get your reps in. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The more you repeat an activity, the more the structure of your brain changes to become efficient at that activity. Neuroscientists call this long-term potential, which refers to the strengthening of connections between neurons in the brain based on a recent patterns of activity. With each repetition, cell-to-cell signaling improves and the neural connections lengthen, first described by neurophysiologist Dolan Hebb in 1949. This phenomenon is commonly known by Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together wire together. Repeating a habit leads to clear physical change in the brain. In musician, the cerebellum critical for physical movements plucking, plucking guitar string or pulling a violin bow is larger than it is in non-musician. Non-musician mathematics, meanwhile, have increased gray matter in the inferior uh, parietal lobe, which plays a key role in compunction and calculation. Exercise is desired correlated with the amount of time spent in the field. The older and more experienced the mathematicians, the greater the increase in gray matter. Of course, the importance of repetitions in establishing habits was recognized long before neuroscientists began poking around. In 1860, the English philosopher George H. Lewis noted in learning to speak a new language, to play a musical instrument, or to perform un, uh, accustomed movements, a great difficulty is felt because this channel through which each sensation has to pass have not become established, but no sooner has frequent repetitions cut a pathway, then this difficulty vanishes. The action becomes so automatic that they can be performed while the mind is otherwise engaged. Both common sense and scientific evidence agree a repetition is a form of change. Each time you repeat an action, you are activating a particular neural circuit associated with that habit. This means that simply putting in your reps is one of the most critical steps you can take to encoding a new habit. It is why the students who took tons of photos improved their skills while those who merely theorized about perfect photos did not. One group engaged in active practice, the other in passive learning. One in action, the other is motion. Other is in motion. Mm. On the following page, you will see what it looks like when researchers track the levels of automaticity for an actual habit like walking for 10 minutes each day. The shape of the chart, which scientists call a learning curve, reveals an important truth about behavior change habits form based on frequency, not time. There is nothing magic about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 30 days or 300 days. What matters is that rate at which you perform the behavior. You could do something twice in 30 days or 200 times. It's the frequency that makes the difference. Your current habits have been in, internalized over the course of hundreds, if not thousands of repetitions. New habits require the same level of frequency. You need to string together enough successful attempts until the behavior is firmly embedded in your mind and you cross the habit line. In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the action you need to take to make progress. Whether an action is fully automatic is or less important. To build a habit, you need to practice it when it and the most effective way to make practice happen is to either to the third law of behavior change, make it easy. This chapter that follow will show you how to do exactly that. Exactly that. So this is the end of chapter 11. Summary summary of that chapter. There is 5 points. First, the third law of behavior change is make it easy. Second, the most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Third, focus on taking action, not being in motion. And fourth, habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. Last and fifth, the amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it. So this was the end of chapter 11 and we have finished almost half of our this book Atomic Habits. So as this chapter was a bit small, so today we'll try to complete chapter 12 as well. So it's the 12th chapter, the law of least effort. In his award-winning book Guns, Germs and Steel, anthropologist and biologist Jer Diamond points out a simple fact: different continents have different shapes. At first glance, this statement seems rather obvious and unimportant, but it turns out to have a profound impact on human behavior. When agriculture began to spread around the globe, farmers had an easier time expanding along east-west routes than along north-south ones. This is because locations along the same latitude generally share similar climates, amount of sunlight and rainfall, and change in season. These factors allowed farmers in Europe and Asia to uh, domesticate a few crops and grow and grow them along the entire stretch of land from France to China. I am wondering that in this chapter there is no availability of India in this world map. So I was saying where in India, but it's a no. So as a result, agriculture spread 2 to 3 times faster across Asia and Europe than it did up and down the Americas over the span of centuries. This small difference had a very big impact. Increased food production allowed for more rapid population growth with more people. These cultures were able to build stronger armies and were better equipped to develop new technologies. The changes started out small. A crop that spread slightly faster, population that grew slightly faster but compounded into a substantial difference over time. The spread of agriculture provides an example of the third law of behavior change on a global scale. A conventional wisdom holds that motivation is the key to habit change. Maybe if you really wanted it, you would actually do it. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. And despite what the latest productivity bestseller will tell you, this is a smart strategy, not a dumb one. Energy is precious, and the brain is weird to conserve it whenever possible. It is human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. For example, expand your farm to the east where you can grow the same crops rather than heading north where the climate is different. Out of all the possible actions we could take, that one that is realized is the one that delivers the most value for the least effort. We are motivated to do what is easy. Look at any behavior that fills up much of your life, and you will see that it can be performed with very low levels of motivation. Habits like scrolling on our phones, checking emails, and watching television steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient in a sense. Every habit is just an obstacle to getting what really want. Dieting is an obstacle to getting fit. Meditation is an obstacle to feeling calm. Journaling is an obstacle to thinking clearly. You don't actually want to habit itself. What you really want is the outcome that habit delivers. The greater that obstacle, that is the more difficult the habit, the more friction there is between you and your desire and state. But what about all the moments when we seem to do the opposite? If we are all so lazy, then how do you explain people accomplishing hard things like raising a child or starting a business or climbing Mount Everest? Certainly, you are capable of doing very hard things. The problem is that some days you feel like doing the hard work, and some days you feel like giving in. On the tough day, it's crucial the it's crucial to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the challenges life naturally throw your way. The less friction you face, the easier the easier it is for your stronger self to emerge. The idea behind make it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. How to achieve more with less effort? Imagine you are holding a garden hose that is bent in the middle. Some water can flow through, but not very much. If you want to increase the rate at which water passes through the hose, you have two options. The first option is to crank up the well and force more water out. The second option is to simply remove the bend in the hose and let water flow through naturally. One of the most effective ways to reduce the friction associated with your habits is to practice environment desire. In chapter 6, we discussed environment desire as a method of making cues more obvious, but you can also optimize your environment to make action easier. For example, when deciding where to practice a new habit, it is best to choose a place that is already along the path of your daily routine. Habits are easier to build when they fit into the flow of your life. You are more likely to go to the gym if it is on your way to work because stopping doesn't add much friction to your lifestyle. By comparison, if the gym is off the path of your normal commute, even by just a few blocks, now you are going out of your way to get there. In an article published in the New York titled Better All the Times, James Surovicki writes, Japanese firms emphasizes what came to be known as lean production, relentlessly looking to remove waste of all kinds from the production process, down to redesigning a workspace so workers didn't have to waste time twisting and turning to reach their tools. The result was that Japanese factories were more efficient and Japanese products were more reliable than American ones. In 1974, service calls for America made color television were 5 times as common as for Japanese television. By 1979, it took American workers as long 3 times as long to assemble their sets. If you look at the most habit forming products, you will notice that one of the things these goods and services do best is remove title bits of friction from your life. Meal delivery service reduce the friction of shopping for groceries. Dating apps reduce the friction of making social introductions. A ride sharing service reduce the friction of getting across town. Text messaging decrease the friction of sending a letter in the mail. Like a Japanese television manufacturers redesigning their workspace to reduce wasted motion. Successful companies design their products to automate, eliminate, or simplify as many steps as possible. They reduce the number of fields on each form. They pare down the number of clicks required to create an account. They deliver their products with easy to understand directions or ask their customers to make fewer choices. When the first voice activated speakers were released, products like Google Home, Amazon Echo, and Apple HomePod. I asked a friend what he liked about the product he had purchased. He said it was just easier to say, play some country music than to pull out his photo. phone. Similar strategies have been used effectively by governments. When the British government wanted to increase tax collection rates, they switched from sending citizens to a web page where the tax form could be downloaded to a linking directly to the form. Reducing that one step in the process increased the response rate from 90.2% to 23.4%. For a century like the United Kingdom, those percentage points represent millions in tax revenue. Prime the environment for future use. Nicholas dialed in his cleaning habits by following a strategy he refers to as resetting the room. For instance, when he finishes watching television, he places the remote back on the TV stand, arranges the pillows on the couch, and folds the blanket. When he leaves his car, he throws any trash away. Whenever he takes a shower, he wipes down the toilet while the shower is warming up. When I walk into room, everything is in its right place. Uh, Knuckles rot because I do this every day in every room. Stuff always stays in good shape. People think I work hard, but I am actually really lazy. I am just proactively lazy. It gives you so much time back. Whenever you organize a space for its indeed purpose, you are priming it to make the next action easy. For instance, my wife keeps a box of greeting cards that are pre pre-sorted by occasion, birthday, sympathy, wedding, graduation, and more. Whenever necessary, she grabs an appropriate card and send it off. She is incredibly good at remembering to send cards because she has reduced the friction of doing so. For years, I was the opposite. Someone would have a baby and I would think I should send a card, but then weeks would pass, and by the time I remember to pick one up at the store, it was too late. The habit wasn't easy. These are simple ways to make the good habits the path of least resistance. You can also invert this principle and prime the environment to make bad behavior difficult. If you find yourself watching too much television, for example, then unplug it after each use. Only plug it back in if you can say out loud the name of the show you want to watch. This setup creates just enough friction to prevent a mindless viewing. Whenever possible, I leave my phone in a different room until lunch. When it's right next to me, I check it all morning for no reason at all. But when it is in another room, I really think about it. And the friction is high enough that I won't go get it without a reason. As a result, I get 3 to 4 hours each morning when I can work without interruption. It is remarkable how little friction is required to prevent unwanted behavior. When I hide beer in the back of the fridge where I can't see it, I, I drink less. When I delete social media apps from my phone, it can be week before I download them again and log in. These tricks are unlikely to curb a true addiction, but for many of us, a little bit of friction can be the difference between sticking with a good habit or sliding into a bad one. Imagine the cumulative impact of making dozens of these changes and living in an environment designed to make the good behaviors easier and the bad behavior harder. Whatever we are approaching a behavior change as an individual, a parent, a coach, or a leader, we should ask ourselves the same question. How can we design a world where it's easy to do what's right? Redesign your life so the action that matters most are also the action that are easiest to do. So it was the end of chapter 12, and now here is a summary of this chapter. There are 5 bullet points. First, human behavior follows the laws of least effort. We will naturally gravitate towards the opposite that requires the least amount of work. Second, create an environment where doing the right things is as easy as possible. Third, reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. When friction is low, habits are easy. Fourth, increase the friction associated with bad behavior. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Fifth and last, prime your environment to make future action easier. So we have completed our 11th and 12th lesson, and also in this 10 days we have almost finished half of this book. So guys, if you feel any difference in my fluency or confidence, so please comment me below. And if you want to make a community to enhance or improve our speaking skills, confidence, or uh, any kind of learning in English, so please message me on community number or my WhatsApp number 98739767739. Number will be in description box as well. Till the time, goodbye friends.